Hi guys, my name is Sarah, and today I want to do something totally different than usual and do a wig chat with you. And I want to talk about wig wearing, the wig journey as everyone calls it, and tell you about my experiences with wigs and what I've learned over the years. So I think if you're wearing wigs or thinking about wearing wigs, this might be interesting for you. So if you want to know what I've learned through the years, then stick around and let's get started. So once again, welcome back to my channel. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. It's totally free and helps my channel a lot. Well, I've made myself comfortable on the couch. I hope you did too, because this might be a longer video than usual. I really wanted to do such a wig chat for a while, and last night I thought, now I'm gonna do it. And I want to chat with you about wigs and wig wearing. And as you all know, everyone is always talking about the wig journey, and I also think that's exactly what it is. It's a journey that never ends. And not just because many of us are dependent on wigs or need to wear wigs for the rest of our lives for different reasons, but also since everything's developing and evolving on this journey with personal preferences changing over time, and also the wigs that keep improving and getting better. And we've come such a long way since when I started wearing wigs over 25 years ago. And I have also evolved in wig wearing, because nowadays I'm wearing totally different wigs than I used to wear back in the day. And when I started wearing wigs, and probably you've heard some of the stories before that I'm going to tell you today. And so today I just want to recap everything and talk a little bit about everything regarding wigs. And if there are topics that I have made videos to before, I'm going to link them up here in the corners and also down in the description box. So if you want to know more about a specific topic that interests you, you can watch my videos and learn more that I'm going to talk about today. I must say I really love this journey, and I'm oftentimes surprised about myself, you know, how I'm changing. And like I said, when I started wearing wigs over 25 years ago, I never thought I would ever spend so much money on wigs that I have done in the last 3 or 4 years. But at some point I realized that it's just important to have really good quality wigs, and these are not the ones you get on Amazon, or, you know, not the cheap ones that you get. Some of them are okay and look okay, but there are just so many differences when you get a name brand wig or just a high quality wig, that just makes the difference to those cheap wigs that just don't look as realistic. And I hope that you will recognize yourself in this video as well, hopefully. And maybe you're at another point in this journey, but I hope that we all get to that one point in the journey where I am now, and just realize a lot of the things I've learned that are so important, that just makes everything easier, and that you don't have to try out so many things and many times notice that was another wrong one that you ordered, and that you eventually know what styles suit you and what is important to you. And I'm talking about caps, cap construction, fiber, hair, etc. And of course also personal preference. Now, I've done videos where I show you all the different caps and cap constructions that there are, and also videos on the pros and cons of human hair and synthetic hair. And like I said, I'm going to link these videos so you can watch them if you want to know more about it. Now, I can just tell you, I have evolved and developed over the years, and right now I am only wearing wigs with heat-defying synthetic fibers. I'm not wearing regular synthetic anymore. I'm just selling my last regular synthetic wig I had right now, because I haven't been wearing it in over a year or two, just because I don't like the regular synthetic fibers anymore. I don't like how they feel, and I don't like that synthetic shine that they have that just doesn't look as realistic as heat-define synthetics, at least in my opinion. I do think that the heat-define synthetics just look the most realistic of all, and I oftentimes get asked when I wear heat-define synthetics and people know that I'm wearing wigs, they often ask me, "But this is human hair you're wearing, isn't it?" And I'm always going, "Nope, this is synthetic." And it's funny that with hair products for real human hair, I'm not talking about wigs, there are all these products that give you shine and make your hair shiny. And in the wig world, that is exactly what we don't want because it's not the same as human hair with shine, and synthetic fibers just look differently, move differently. It's not the same. So I think the best thing they invented are heat-defined fibers, and these keep getting better and better. You know, with the new fibers that Tressalure, Beltress, and Raquel Welch wigs came out with, they are just the next level and keep improving. And I'm so glad they do. And they still research in that area and keep coming out with better and better fibers. So why am I not wearing human hair wigs? I have to say I love human hair wigs. And the only reason is that I still think the price difference of a good long human hair wig is just so high that I prefer to buy 3, 4, 5 heat-defined synthetics for the same price and just have that variety of hair and color and styles. And of course, I also love that the hairstyle is baked in with the synthetics and you don't have to style them as you do with the human hair. But I love human hair, especially longer human hair is so much more comfortable to wear. It hardly will tangle at all. It just feels so much better than synthetic fibers, but it's so much more expensive. And I just can't get over myself to spend that much money on a real good human hair wig. I had one before that was really perfect. I loved it, but I couldn't wear it since I got the wrong cap size. It was way too big, and so I had to sell it again. Otherwise, I would still have it and wear it. But will I get another human hair wig? I might, of course, you know. Who knows? Maybe I get sponsored again or some human hair wig company asks me to collaborate. And of course I won't say no. I love human hair wigs and I would love to do that, but I just can't see myself buying one at this time, at least. Another thing is special features that everyone's asking themselves the same. What special features do I need? What's important? What looks and makes a wig more realistic? And what's nice to have, or what is something I don't need? And I can tell you, I have a lot of fully hand-tied wigs, and I just think it's nice, but it's not something that I absolutely need to have. Of course, they totally feel extremely good and realistic, especially when you touch your head, and you can just feel the difference if you have a wefted cap or a hand-tied cap. And hand-tied, of course, always feels better, but it's not something I absolutely need. Oh, and before I forget, and many of you will ask what I'm wearing today, I'm just going to show it here on screen so you won't have to ask. So, what's important to me and has always been important is a lace front. I've always worn lace fronts. I hardly ever wore wigs without a lace front. It just makes me feel more secure knowing that there is a lace front. Even if I have bangs, I want to have a lace front underneath. And one thing that is also really important to me is an extended lace front that goes down up to approximately here into the ear tabs. I think that's just so much more realistic than having a lace front that just goes temple to temple and ends up here somewhere. And what is also really important to me is at least a lace or monofilament part, because that is what makes a wig even look more realistic than just a lace front. I think that part is so important. It's so important to see through and see a little bit of your scalp through, and that's what also makes a wig look extremely realistic. I don't need a full mono top. I mean, it's nice, you can part a wig wherever you like, but I always part mine on the left, so a left side mono part is absolutely sufficient for me. And as you might know, I'm always talking about the monofilaments or lace parts or tops, and that there are always differences on how well they are done. And you know, the perfect monofilament or lace part is done so that you can see through a little bit and see your scalp. You know, they are the ones that are knotted way too densely so you can't see through. So what's the use of having a mono or lace part then if you can't see through? But a tendency that's been going on recently with several brands is that they make those mono tops less and less dense, and then you can see more than just a little bit of scalp. You can see a lot of scalp, and it's not that this doesn't look realistic, but it just looks like alopecia. And this is the exact reason I am wearing wigs, and I don't want people to think I have alopecia. So this is a development I don't like, and I hope they will stop doing this and go back to having more density on top, which is just what looks perfect in my opinion, because there really is the perfect density of a lace or mono top or part. And there are some manufacturers like Raquel Welch and Tressalure, and sometimes also Beltress, that have this perfect density for that part. And one thing that just came to my mind is there is this one perfect bob, which I absolutely love. I've had it for years. I even have it in 2 colors, and that is Ignite by Jon Renau, which I'm going to review at some point. I've never done that before. I've shown them to you in one of my videos with my favorite summer styles, and it's actually a style I only wear in the summer when it's really hot because it's so short, and I only wear longer styles in the winter nowadays. And I absolutely love this style. I think it is the perfect asymmetrical bob that is stacked in the back and very short in the nape, and then is graduated and goes under the chin here in front. I love that style, but what I don't like about it is that it only has a lace front and no monofilament part or top. And I wish Jon Renau would change that, because this is, I've heard from Jon Renau themselves, that Ignite is their most popular, most sold style, that they would do another Ignite with at least a monofilament part. I know they just came out with Ignite in human hair, but what I've seen so far, even on the model pictures, I think it's not the same. It doesn't look as good as the synthetic version. And why the human hair in such a short style? I don't get it, but you know. But I just hope they will do this at some point and give me my Ignite with at least a monofilament part. That's what I really miss about it, because I think it would look so much more realistic. And of course I have other styles that I've shown you that are similar bobs, you know, shorter bobs, that look almost like Ignite, but it's just not the same. I didn't find any other manufacturer that made an Ignite just the same with just at least a mono part. That's just important to me. And what's also important is an extended lace front, like I said. And as you know, there are the ones that have ear-to-ear lace fronts, where the lace front runs all the way behind your ear, which is something that really looks fabulous, but it just isn't practical in everyday wearing. I know Beltress makes this with all their luxe caps that are completely hand-tied, which are great. I mean, I also have them, and it really looks incredibly realistic if you have those ear-to-ear lace fronts. But the thing is, you always have to glue them down here, because otherwise they will lift and you will see that it's a wig and you can see underneath. I've had this happen before and I realized it myself, and it's just not good. They also have the metal stays inside, but it's just not the same. And if you like me, tuck your hair behind your ear or back in a ponytail, or, you know, just run your fingers through your hair, then this will always lift here, and if you don't glue it down. So it looks fabulous if it's glued down. I don't like gluing it down all the time, so I just don't wear these wigs as often, which is a shame, but this is something I don't have to have. Now, what's also interesting is that your personal preferences and your likes will change over time, and you start liking things and wearing things you never thought you would, not only with clothes but also with hair. And I had this experimental phase with colors, which has ended, by the way. And I know that many of you tell me that you love when I wear other colors, and that other colors really suit me, like brunettes, darker hair, and reds and everything. And I agree. I think that's true. And you know, my natural color isn't blonde. It's a brunette, or was, before I started turning gray. And I was wearing brunettes and even black for a couple of years way back. But this is something I couldn't imagine now anymore. And I think with blonde, I just found my favorite color. And if you ask me now, I am going to tell you this is not going to change, at least for a long time. Now, will it ever change again? Who knows? I can't say today, because who knows, in 10 or 20 years, if I'm still alive, I might also wear gray. I do like grays when I see it on others, but I just don't see it on myself. And, you know, since I'm wearing wigs, why should I turn gray? But like I said, this can change. My taste can change, and maybe I will be wearing grays in the future. Right now, I'm just seeing myself in blondes. Now, one thing, and this is important, is that people never notice those details like hair color that much as we think. That's most of us, I would say, especially when you're just starting out with wearing wigs. Maybe you're forced to, you're starting chemotherapy or something. And the first thing that everyone thinks or wants with their first wig is to find something that looks just exactly the same as your own hairdo and hair color, which of course is natural and something everyone can relate to. But I have to tell you, don't be afraid of changing. Just be open to similar colors. It doesn't really have to be the exact same color that your hair is right now. And the great thing is there are so many colors to choose from. Many manufacturers have loads and loads of colors, and you will definitely find something that comes close to your natural color. But just know that people won't be thinking, if you put on your first wig and it doesn't look just the exact same way as your bio hair, people won't be thinking, oh my God, she's wearing a wig now. But they will think, oh, she's been to the salon and had her hair colored and cut. Now that is the reaction everyone will have, because they won't notice that you're wearing a wig, or won't think that you're wearing a wig. And that's a fear that many have that start wearing wigs, and it's really unnecessary to have that fear. Just believe me, people won't notice. And also with hair length and cut, you can change, and you don't have to be always in the same range of length. I mean, of course, if you have super short hair and super long hair the next day, people might notice. But if it's just a couple of inches in difference, and one is straight and one is curly or something, people won't notice the difference, because, you know, if you curl straight hair, it will be shorter than if it's straight. This is physics, right? And so you can vary styles and lengths, and people just won't notice. This is something that you realize over time. And especially with new wig wearers, I think it's a pity that some are so afraid that anyone could notice they're wearing a wig. You know, I get a lot of feedback from you. I've been talking to women all over the world through my channel, through Facebook groups, and so on. And of course, I also talk to friends, or sometimes I hear stories. Like, for example, when I was talking to Silke, my very good friend from Perückenglück, she does a lot of consultation, and they also have a studio where you can go and try on wigs, and she does all those consultations. So she told me about a client she had that just wears one style in one color and doesn't want to change and try anything different. And now this is a style that has been discontinued, unfortunately, and she was so heartbroken about it. And also, I think she got that style again. She bought it again, one of the few last ones they had, and it looked totally different than the one she had. And you know, this is something we always experience with the manufacturers, that there's that variation that is just a thing. You know, colors change, density changes, lace fronts change. You know, I've had that before. I bought the same style several times and they looked different every time. One time my favorite color looked completely different and not the same as before. And, you know, it's annoying, but it's something that happens because even the very expensive wigs we buy are mass-produced. They might be completely fully handcrafted and hand-tied, but nevertheless, it's a mass product. If you want, you know, the perfect hair, you will have to go to a wig maker and have him or her make that perfect wig for you that is fitted on your head, and you can tell them all the details, the exact color you want, the cut and everything. But I don't think you and I are willing to pay the price for that because it's bloody expensive. So we have to rely on the manufacturers that we wear, and I think they've really come a long way. Wigs have come a long way since I started wearing them, and they keep improving and getting better, which is something I love. And I'm grateful that they still continue research in fibers and materials and everything. But coming back to that lady I was talking about, that Silke told me about, I think it's really sad that she's so focused on that one singular style and doesn't want to try out anything else. I think it's really sad, and she's missing out on a lot of great wigs, and it doesn't always have to have all the bells and whistles to look good. And I wanted to talk again about how people see us, and also talking about colors. Now, I only wear blondes, but I have quite a variety of blondes, from darker blondes to platinums, rooted and without root, etc. And I also experience this when I come to the office and my coworker and best friend is sitting there and I go, "Do you notice something?" And she goes, "Should I?" And I say, "Well, new hair?" And she goes, "Really? Haven't you worn this before?" And I think, And I'm a little disappointed, but you know, of course I wear similar wigs with similar blondes, but even with new colors and new blondes, these are mostly rooted blondes and they look pretty similar. And another thing that recently happened was that very close friend came to visit with her brother. And it's been the first time he's been to my place, so I was showing him around. And we also went to my closet where I have my wig wall, you know, my wig collection, which I'm going to show you. And these are the styles that I'm wearing. I have all the styles on wig heads, and then these are the styles I'm wearing right now. And I keep alternating. I hardly ever wear the same wig twice in a row, you know, on 2 days. And I also change like wardrobe. I have summer wigs and winter wigs, and you know, these are the ones I'm wearing right now. And on top, on another shelf, I have many other styles in boxes, and I keep changing them depending on the weather and so on. And he was really amazed and was in awe of my collection. But then he said, "Okay, but they all look the same." And I thought, is he being serious? Then I thought, okay, it's a man, but of course they were all blonde, but I have different shades of blondes. I have very long ones, very short ones, but he was just seeing blonde hair. And that's what I wanted to say, that people just don't realize and don't look that closely at our hair. So you can change your hairdo every day and people really won't notice. At least not as much as we think they will. And I remember another time where something similar happened to me. So an acquaintance of mine who knows I'm wearing wigs, was very interested in the topic. She asked me about it, and she was curious on trying on wigs and maybe also buying a wig from my collection that I was selling at the time. So I invited her to my place, and then she arrived and we went straight into my closet and wig room, and I was showing her different styles and also the ones I wanted to sell, and she tried them on and was getting comfortable with them, and then she chose one that she wanted to buy, and I said, just leave it on, surprise your husband, and look what his reaction will be, because it looked absolutely fabulous on her. And so we sat on the couch and had coffee and were chatting. And after about 20 minutes or so, I was starting to think, what was her real biological hair? I tried to remember how she looked before when she arrived. I just remembered that her hair was shorter than the wig she was wearing right now, and it was a different color, but I couldn't remember neither the length, nor the cut, nor the color. I just couldn't remember how she looked when she arrived half an hour ago. Isn't that crazy? I was looking at her and couldn't remember what she looked when she arrived. And that is why I always say you can be at a party, have a wig on, leave the room, change the wig, come back to the room 2 minutes later, and if it's not completely different, like from black to white or red to green or something, people won't notice you have different hair on. Believe me, if it's a similar color and style, I mean, not if you're going from stick straight to super curly, of course, but if it's a similar cut and style and color, people just won't notice the difference. And something else that is a fact is that hair and a hairdo really makes such a difference. I mean, you probably all know it. When you get ready, do your makeup, and then pick a wig and put it on, and it just isn't right for your look or your mood, and you go and change into something completely different, you will look totally different with a different wig. I think it's so interesting how hair can change how you look and how you appear to someone. And I think the thing with wigs, at least with high quality wigs, is that every wig, no matter how many special features she has, will look much better than most women's bio hair you see out there. You know, especially in comparison to women who don't care for their hair, who don't do their hair, and who don't see the necessity of wearing a wig. So no matter what wig you put on, if it's good quality and a good cut, it will really make a difference in how you appear to other people. And something I often think when I see especially older women, over 70 or so, you know, that have very, very thin and little hair on their head, and where you can see through and see their scalp, and who are still trying to get a hairdo with the little hair they have left, I'm always asking myself, why wouldn't you get a wig? It would look so much better. I don't get it. I mean, I know it's different over here in Germany or Europe than in the US, where wigs are much more recognized and don't have the stigma they still have in Europe, you know. At least I think so. Because over here, when people hear wig, they always think of diseases, illness, you know, cancer and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure they are more accepted in the USA. Also among black women, I see so many black women wearing wigs all the time, and I think that's great because to them it's just normal. And I hope that someday it will be normal too with everyone else, and people will treat wigs as what they really are, no matter if you call it helper hair or fashion accessory, whatever. The way you pick different clothes, you should be able to pick your hair without it being such a big deal. So coming to an end, I want to give you that one conclusion I hope everyone has in their wig journey sooner or later, and which should be that you have to think, I don't care what other people think, or if they know that I'm wearing a wig or not. The most important thing is that I, myself, feel comfortable in it, and only then I will also transport this, and it will show when you're confident with your look. This will make an impression, and people will see you differently. All right. that's about it with my wig chat for today. I think it's been way longer than my usual videos, so I hope I didn't bore you and maybe you learned something new, or at least I could make you think about some things that you might want to try and change to feel more at ease and confident wearing wigs. Now, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I mean it. I hope you're well, stay that way, and I will see you again soon. Take care, bye-bye. Oh, and before I forget, I had one before that, and this is something from acquaintances, you know, I've something we always experiences. So a girl. Where was I? The battery of my phone just died and I had to charge it for 20 minutes to continue, so I was baking a cake in the meantime. Now here are 2 videos I was mentioning in this talk, so go and check them out.